Hi guys, I've been thinking a lot about the nature of free will and determinism recently. Um, and I've come to the conclusion that not only do we have no free will, but there can be no justice in a universe which is deterministic. Let me first of all go back a step to explain determinism. Determinism is the belief that everything in the universe follows a predetermined course. Well, not a predetermined course. Everything is cause and effectal, if there's such a saying. If you push a ball from the top of a hill, it has no choice but to roll down the hill. It can't make up its mind not to roll down the hill or to follow a different path down the hill. It will follow the path that gravity determines, or the surface, or whatever. And that theory can be applied to every single atom in the universe, but especially to the human brain. Now, whether or not there are genuinely random events, there's a school of thought now that believes that there are random events occurring in the universe, but certainly the human brain, I tend to think of that as being like a computer, and on the top you have the program, and underneath you have the operating system, and the program is like your consciousness, and then the operating system underneath is kind of, it has access to the storage, which is your memories and your experience, and it has the processing capability to understand how to interrogate that past experience and those memories. Unfortunately, the operating system is frequently damaged, so it doesn't always draw rational conclusions, and it certainly doesn't remember with 100% clarity. But the thing is that every part of your experience goes into this storage cache, and that affects the person that you become and the decision-making process that you make. And I think it was Sam Harris who talked about research where they discovered, I believe it was neuroscientists discovered, that human beings make conscious decisions, subconscious decisions, unconscious decisions up to 10 seconds before they become conscious. Now, obviously, that can't be the case with every single decision. If I ask you what time it is, within a half a second or a fraction of a second, you've already made, you're consciously aware of my question, and then you go away and interrogate your knowledge to work out what time it is. But nevertheless, before your conscious can become aware of that, your unconscious is acting to hear, to interpret what you've heard, and then that feeds up to your conscious to contemplate, if you like, and then that contemplation feeds back down to your subconscious, and it's like a dialogue. And I don't really see any way that any of us is truly responsible for our actions if our actions are actually carried out by our unconscious, and I don't see any way that they could be carried out in any way other than by our unconscious. That our consciousness is only a response to our unconscious, not the other way around. So if our actions, but let me simplify. Imagine a child who gets let's take an example. Anders Behring Breivik, the guy who murdered the kids in Norway, 70, 80, 90, whatever it was, kids in Norway. His mother had decided before he was even born that he was going to be a bad seed. Then she treated him badly all his life and slept with him, and that was programming his subconscious. That was giving him a set of parameters about himself, about the world. It was giving him a worldview which was not the same as everybody else's. And just as you can't choose what to believe, you can't decide what worldview you will have. Even the decision to interrogate your worldview is a result of your worldview and the programming you've had. So just as, say, a child who is praised, whatever they do, may grow up very confident and have a very positive worldview, a child who is criticised and belittled all the time can have a very unconfident worldview, and they don't choose to be that person, and they don't choose how to interpret new information in the light of their previous upbringing. You know, their operating system has been programmed by their experience, not by their choice. And as I say, even a decision to try and change that operating system is a result of the experience you've had, and obviously genetics as well, because you know, some people can be predisposed towards negativity or positivity or schizophrenia or whatever. So if nobody is responsible for anything that they do truly, it's only an illusion of free will, then it makes as little sense to condemn the worst murderer as it does to praise the greatest, you know, the greatest philanthropist. I mean, you know, if you look at, say, Adolf Hitler, classic example. Yeah, I know it. You know, it's breaking whoever's law it is, but you know, he's such a good example. You know, perhaps at some point his psyche has been programmed by the experience he's had of, you know, that perhaps Jews were bad for a particular reason, or they represented a threat, or perhaps his parents were racist, or perhaps he was raised with poor self-esteem, which made him project outwards. Or, you know, any number of factors that could have brought him to the decisions he came to that were outside of his control. And likewise, let's think of somebody philanthropic, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela's experience, you know, for one person the prison experience would have destroyed them and made them bitter, but there was something in Nelson Mandela's experience that prepared him, that programmed him to come out of that stronger, to be an amazing human being. But he was no more consciously responsible for the person he became than Hitler was for the person he became. And so that means that if you punish somebody for actions which are not in their control, it's no more just than it would be to punish, I don't know, a ball for falling, or a person for having a disease. You know, that they are a result of the things that have happened to them. They're a result of the genetics that they have. They're not a result of the conscious choices. Nevertheless, it's essential that we do punish people, even though that's inhumane, because the way that we treat people who behave in antisocial ways is also part of the programming process that programs everybody else's worldview. So even though it's unfair that people get punished or even executed for crimes, that process is necessary, even though it's unjust, because if we didn't do it, everybody else's subconscious would have this worldview that either their good behaviour was pointless, or that their bad behaviour would be rewarded and unpunished. And that again is all part of this this deterministic programming. Determinism is not the same as predeterminism, I guess. You know, predeterminism is kind of like the belief that everything was destined from the beginning, almost like fate. And that's not true, because you know, different events can happen that you know, that we didn't anticipate. That there could still be random things happening in the universe. You know, as I think I mentioned before, you know, that I believe at the quark level, that there are things popping in and out randomly of existence, people are saying now, and how that may affect the universe. That may bring randomness into the entire universe. So not every single atom and molecule can be predicted in advance. So people's fate is not necessarily written from the start of time, but their responses to the things that happen to them are inescapable. Yeah, I don't think I really have a lot more to say about that. It's just something that's really twisting my brain up, trying to get my my thoughts around it. But I'd really value your input onto this one, guys. I appreciate it when you guys comment at the best of times, but perhaps you guys have some perspectives or insights on this that might help me to understand my own position better, or to challenge my position. So you take care, guys, and thanks very much for watching. Hi guys, just a quick additional here before I go. On my video God is Immoral, Yasser Farid mentioned the existence of subatomic randomness now, which has been discussed, and said that would affect whether or not we had free will, suggesting that perhaps their existence meant that everything was not deterministic. And whilst it's certainly true that a universe with genuine randomness in it would no longer be deterministic because it wouldn't be predictable, that certainly wouldn't affect whether or not you have free will, because if anything it would mean that you have less free will, because now, in addition to the fact that the structure of your brain means that your conscious thoughts are a reflection of your subconscious, it would also mean that now there are completely random elements happening in your subconscious. So you know, it's you look at people's decision-making process, and sometimes it almost appears to be random anyway. So the fact that there may well be random things happening at a subatomic level, which lead to decision-making which is not linear, A to B, in no way affects the general principle that the structure of your brain is designed. You know, it's like do the existence of subatomic particles affect whether or not a train rolls down a hill? No, they don't, because the macro effect, the mass of the train, gravity, blah blah blah, all of those macro effects vastly outweigh the subatomic perturbations, if you like, which may produce effects. Now, of course, there's always a possibility that it could be a butterfly wing effect, but in any case, I don't think that the addition of randomness to the equation gives you any greater control over your mind than if everything were completely, absolutely, predictably deterministic. So a really good point though, Yasser. Thank you very much for your input. But you know, I think if anything, it clarifies the position. It doesn't disprove it. You take care, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take the time to rate and comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe. Thank you.